There are moments when life as you know it completely falls apart. Divorce, loss, failure, heartbreak, financial collapse. It's 2 a.m., you can't sleep, and everything feels like it's over. But here's the truth. This is not the end. I'm Christy Zlatkus, and this is a show where we talk about the strategies that turn heartbreak, loss, and failure into success, and share the real stories of people who've done it. Because no matter how dark it feels right now, your story isn't over. Hi, and welcome back to This Is Not the End. Today we are here with Gio Sardo. Hi, Gio. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Christy. It's an honor. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. How long have we been even talking about doing this podcast?
Been a few months.
It's been a few months now. So I have been working with Gio for about a year and a half. Gio works with me at my law firm, Z Family Law, and he helps us with our sales department. He works with us as a client engagement specialist. He's worked with us on our processes, but that's not all Gio does. Gio's actually a business coach. He is a sales coach, and he has accomplished some pretty amazing things. Gio, do you want to tell everybody kind of a little bit about your background and what you do?
Absolutely. So I've always been in sales and customer service. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. I started working when I was 8 in my father's travel agency, and will fast forward throughout my entire career that spanned pro sports and a bunch of different industries to now using everything that I've learned to help people achieve their dreams. So in business, with business coaching, being able to come in, take a look at process and making things better. Divorce coaching, because I've been divorced twice and been through the ringer and have spent, I'm not even going to think about the numbers, even though we're going to talk about them soon. And I'm also a certified communications trainer and coach. So I am all about making people's lives better. And I'm at a spot in my life where everything in my career is exactly what I've always dreamed of.
So, Gio, I just kind of want to take you back for a minute to how you and I first met, because we were pretty aligned from the moment that we met. I remember Gio and I were both in a sales group online. It was an online Facebook group. And I had posted in the group saying, hey, I want to find a salesperson that gets it, that understands that I'm not just selling a divorce and legal services, that I really want people to start looking at their divorce as an opportunity to really reimagine their lives and figure out how to get there. And I want the process, everything from the first moment that they reach out to our firm to the end, to have that continuum. And I didn't know how to find the right salesperson, so I posted asking for advice. And let me tell you, everybody came out of the woodwork. It was almost creepy how many people were able to find my cell phone number, DM me on every social media platform. Some I didn't even know I still had, like next door. It was kind of crazy. But Gio sent one message that really got my attention. He said, I spent $140,000 on my divorce, and it was worth every penny. Well, that got my attention. And when I got on a Zoom with Gio to find out a little bit more about that and why he thought that was worth it, I really understood that Gio had been there. And that's why, Gio, I asked you to, be on this podcast as a first guest, because like so many of the people that I hope will listen to this podcast, you've been there and you've been in that moment of heartbreak and you've been in that moment of everything sucks. And I don't know if there's ever going to be better out there. And look, you're here, and look at the amazing things that you've done.
And
So,
spoiler alert, I've been through divorce twice. Once before we met and another time right after we met. So, no, I wasn't looking to gain extra experience in order to better connect with Z Family Law. It's just, a circumstance, and that's the way things played out. But, um, you know, I'm all about helping people and getting to the next point, and I love using my story to inspire people to get there.
well, let's set the scene. Can you take us back to what life looked like before everything changed?
Oh wow. So I have a son that I have in shared custody, Antonio. He's 16. I left his mom when he was 3. So we're actually going back 13 years. She was a childhood sweetheart that I had lost touch with. We got back in touch, I think, after about almost 10 years of not seeing each other. It was love at first sight. It was fulfilling the joke that our parents had that, these two are going to get married and have a happy family and blah, blah, blah. And everything was going smooth up until the point that my son was born. And everything went spiraling downhill to a point where I couldn't stay in that situation anymore. And I needed a break. And I was making $40,000 at the time per year. And, it was a decent amount of money, but nowhere near what I needed for what was coming.
What emotions were you feeling in that day? Like, what was keeping you up at night?
Not being a good enough father of my son, failing him before his life even like really started.
How old was
Uh,
Antonio at this point?
he was 3. So, um, all my fears about not being a good enough dad, not being a good enough man, not being a good enough provider, um, basically felt like the scum of the earth. But I was a dad to a 3-year-old.
And
Failure was not an option.
how did it affect your identity at that point?
I lost my identity. Um, I lived in a studio apartment the entire time of the divorce. I forgot what the taste of steak was. Um, Battled nonstop. I had
What do
to
you
make sure that I had a good attorney. Go
But
ahead.
what do you mean by, like, you forgot what steak tasted like? Like, why? What does that mean?
So the entire process cost me 6 figures.
Okay.
And on top of it all, I'm making 40,000 a year. I've got a 3-year-old to provide for. I've got a 3-year-old to feed. So taking care of me, I just needed to make sure I was breathing. The rest didn't matter. What clothes I was wearing. Um, I declared bankruptcy. I didn't have a car, so it was BMW bus metro walk. Um, and food wise, there was no restaurants. There was no, oh, this week I'm gonna buy myself a steak because I've worked hard. It was frozen pizza, whatever I could get out of the dollar store, scrimp and save to survive because my son was gonna eat before me. I had no choice.
Who or what helped you hold it together during that time?
My son, limited amount of people around me, but the one that got me through it was Antonio and always keeping my eyes on the prize.
Was there a specific night or moment that it really hit you that life as you knew it had changed?
Constant threats to leave,
What do you mean?
back and forth arguing in the couple. And when it used to hit its peak, there was always a threat to leave, and she'd leave where we were living. And one night it was, well, rather than leaving the door unlocked so it was easier for her to come back, I locked the door and bolted it and said, "That's it. You want out? It's done." And at that point, it was, I now need to figure out a way to survive. To, I don't know what's going to happen in my life, but I got to figure things out. I have no choice.
Okay. And what did the first step towards rebuilding look like for you?
Uh, I was pretty useless for the first couple of weeks. Like the world just came crashing down on me, and it was just taking everything out of me to smile whenever I would see Antonio. But after that, it was, you know, feeling pity, feeling destroyed, feeling everything. But then you notice that the bills still got to get paid. And you start looking at lawyers and you start seeing lawyer fees. And it's like, well, barely getting by now, but now I got to pay like whatever this is. And, she threw everything in the kitchen sink at me. So I went from feeling sorry for myself to straight survival mode. I needed to get out of it.
How did you get out of survival mode and into personal growth mode?
I lost my dad when I was 18. And what made me turn things around was I'm not going to let my son live the same experience that I had. So it was truly, I have to change things. I have to make things better because whether I like it or not, this kid is going to continue growing. This kid is going to start understanding, and he deserves to have a father that he can be proud of, a father that's going to provide for him. Um, he needs to see that he doesn't have to live what I lived through, and I needed to set a better example for him.
So once you kind of made that internal mindset shift of I'm going to give him a better experience despite this divorce, despite this situation, what was the next thing that you did?
I found as many side hustles as I could.
Okay. What kind of side
Um, I,
hustles? Tell me about it.
oh, I worked in reception halls. I did deliveries. I worked in restaurants. Um, helped out on construction sites. Like if somebody needed somebody for a couple of hours and was paying a couple of bucks, I was there. I was almost paying my attorney in quarters, but at the very least, like I knew that I had to keep up the fight. I knew that I could never be in a position where my attorney thinks that I'm a threat not to pay because I needed to make sure that the representation was there because it was a difficult divorce, Christy, and there was always something. There was always something.
So I always tell people when they're going through a divorce, don't focus on the fight of today, focus on the future. But yours, came with a very big price tag. What was the thing that you were fighting for?
Shared custody of my son.
And did you get it?
I did.
And what's your relationship like today with your son?
A lot of people say that I'm biased, but I think that I've got the best possible father-son relationship on earth. You know, my son is and has been smarter than his father for years now. We talk about anything and everything. We're extremely tight. I've helped him get his first job. He's been working for me forever and a day. And I look at the man that he is today, last year of high school, he has a job, he has a car, he's surrounded by a good group of friends. Um, and he never hesitates to spend time with his father. So I look at him and I know that every side hustle, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt, all the pain that I went through was absolutely worth it. And I'd start all over again tomorrow morning because I couldn't have asked for a better outcome.
And what about your relationship with your co-parent? What's that like?
For the first 12 years was garbage, constant fighting about anything and everything. If I had to pick him up on a Friday at 5 and I'd show up at 4:45, I'd have to wait 15 minutes. Everything was a battle until about 14 months ago. One day she's like, I need to talk to you. And usually when I would hear those words, you see in those TV shows, like, people having an out of body experience and the soul leaving the body?
Yes.
Well, "I need to talk to you. You used to see $10,000 get out of my wallet." And you could see it, like, float away, but this time she's like, "Well, I need to apologize to you." And I was like, "Ooh." I was like, "What for? I got a list. I've got a list of apologies that are needed, but please go on." And she apologized for never backing me as a father, for never admitting that I was a good dad, for all of the fighting that we had, that now she sees everything that I've tried to do. And since that day, co-parenting has never been easier. Like, there's in 15 seconds, she'll come over to my house and have a coffee, and Antonio will be there, and he's like, "My mom is at my dad's table having a coffee, and you're not killing each other. This is weird. I need to leave." So, uh, it took time. No, hell didn't freeze over. I didn't see any pigs flying, but we're finally at that point where we're able to co-parent.
So you went from making $40,000 a year, working odd jobs, figuring out everything food wise, to now you have your own consulting business. You work with multiple businesses like mine. You are working on some other projects that I'm going to ask you about in a little bit. And you have a good co parenting relationship with your now 16-year-old son's mother. What practical steps did you take to get you from A to B? What strategies did you use? Because that's huge.
I stopped feeling sorry for myself. I stopped playing the victim. I stopped all of the negative thoughts. And it really was, I set out what my goals were, and I was not going to stop until I achieved them. And
What goals? What
of
were they?
the first goal was to be able to offer my son whatever he wants. And I'm not talking about, like, spoiling him rotten. I'm just talking about, like, dude, you want to go out for a steak dinner on Friday night? Order the steak. You don't have to order the hamburger steak, which is just like ground beef shaped like no, no, have the real steak. Um, I wanted to have my own company where I control my hours, where I can always be there for those that I love, that I never had to worry about money ever again, but that I'd be able to help and inspire others. Because if I can pull it off, a guy with a high school diploma and, the rough and tough exterior, because, here you don't see it, but, like, I am covered in tattoos and I've got the beard, and, I'm not, I've got a look about me, but to be able to go out and have that success and take care of those that I love, that was my objective, and I made it.
If someone is in the middle of their own collapse right now, what's one strategy you recommend that they start with?
Eat clean and get to the gym,
Why?
because how you fuel your body and how you take care of your mental health is gonna go a long way in the success that you're gonna have. If you're eating garbage, it's gonna weigh down your system. You're not gonna sleep right. You're never gonna have the right energy. And, we see people who eat garbage and just do nothing with their lives. Working out, it's because I put all my anger into the weights. And look, everyone can do whatever they want. You can go run, you can just be active, move your body. Motion creates emotion. It's where your focus goes, your energy flows. And I know these are a lot of cliche terms, but damn it, Christy, they saved my life.
When you look back now on the life that you built, now that you're on the other side of that ending, what do you love most?
The fun that I have, the absolute joy in every part of my life, Christy. When I see my son having projects and I'm able to support him and I'm able to encourage him, in my love life, when I'm able to spend time with, you know, my newly blended family, because yes, after two divorces, I still believe in love. And I found it. And, being able to go cheer on my stepson at his hockey games and being able to support my friends and having my friends' kids call me uncle because I come there and I bring the energy and I spoil them as if they were blood. And finally, when I see the success that my clients have because they've listened to what I've recommended, and it's not telling them what to do, it's making them think and come to those conclusions and then building that game plan with them. When I hear them say, I went to mediation and I got what I wanted, when I hear a client saying, I hit my sales targets, we went above and beyond our sales targets. Those are all things for me that feed my soul, that make me happy and allow me to do whatever I want in life.
So if you could go back and tell your past self, the one that was standing in the wreckage, renting the room, working all the different jobs, wondering if it's even worth it, paying their attorney in quarters, what would you tell your past self?
Don't stop, because what's coming down the pipe is more than you ever dreamed of. And it's so worth it. And when you get to this point, specifically in October 2025, with everything that life has prepared for you, you'd be ready to go through even worse to get to that.
All right, so this is a little bit of a silly question, but I am working on a playlist here. What is one song that captures your comeback energy?
Oh, I'm the Problem by Morgan Wallen.
Why?
Morgan Wallen's album got me through my second divorce. It's an entire album that is about heartbreak, about um being the problem in relationships and all that. And I'm the Problem was my comeback anthem because it takes two to tango. It takes two to get married. It takes two to get divorced. And it's never the one-sided garbage that we hear. And it's just a matter of pushing accountability onto everybody. And yeah, that when that song came on, when it still comes on now, the energy and the vibe that it gives me, it's makes me feel unstoppable.
All right, I got a couple more questions and we're going to wrap up. My next one is, what do you have going on next in your chapter, in your journey?
So much. You know, in the last couple of months, I've met somebody new and we're working on blending our family and, building relationships as much with her as her kids. Um, Shout out to Alexandra, Dante, and Sienna. If you guys are hearing this, and Antonio, I've said your name enough, so I'm not going to say it again. Um, on the personal side, there's that. Professionally, I'm working on expanding my consulting firm and my coaching practice. So I've got a divorce preparation guide coming out soon. And this is A to Z soup to nuts guide on everything that you need to get ready for your divorce, to make your plans. And this covers as much getting ready on the legal side as the personal side. So this is your divorce playbook. Um, I'm working with another divorce coach, Mateo, to launch a podcast in early 2026 to talk about divorce and really get in your face about everything from preparation all the way down to dating after divorce. And aside from that, it's expanding my coaching business. I want to be able to reach out and help. I want to work both sides of the coin more and more. So I want to help more people work through their divorce, and I want to help more family law firms have the right vision, the right values to really be able to connect with their clients and make them believe in the representation and make them believe that their attorney are the ones that are going to guide them through.
Okay. Well, I am excited to see all that you do. And of course, we'll make sure that in the show notes that we link all of your socials so that people can find you, website, anything, if people want to figure out where you are and how to work with you. But I do want to end on one question. So,
Yes.
how would you finish this sentence for anybody listening who is going through a hard time, whether it is struggling with their business, struggling with a divorce, struggling at 2 a.m., wondering if they should get divorced? This is not the end. It's the beginning of blank.
The life you've always wanted to have.
Thank you so much for your time. We really, really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure anytime.